live and online. It's Sleepless with Steve and the Movie Book Club with your host, Steve Pulaski.
Back and better than ever, Sleepless with Steve, live on YouTube. We get to talking and we barely make our cue. Live and in living color on this Wednesday evening, deep into the month of January, somehow, some way, 2023 rolls on. Hopefully it's been very kind to you to start the year. No shortage of things to talk about, no shortage of new movies already. And after two long shows, I think I combined like 4+ hours these last two shows, tackling our top 5 best and worst films of 2022. We closed the book on 2022 last week, and now we are full speed ahead into 2023. We're tackling our first 2023 movie today, and that was the first mainstream American release this year in theaters, Megan, directed by Gerald Johnstone. Blumhouse Productions is starting the year off with a horror movie, and unlike most horror movies, it's a tried and true ritual. Devout moviegoers in America know it. Usually the first movie released of the year, usually the first movie released on the first weekend of January is a horror movie. And this is probably the first good one since Escape Room back in 2019, which I will forever stand on a table for that franchise, and hope we will get a third one soon. But I'm Steve Pulaski, got Dominic Guanzon in the blue polo, the almost hitched Dominic Guanzon in the blue polo. And
hitched in the eyes of the law, not in the eyes of the Lord.
Not in the eyes of the masses over here, though. We're saving that. That's coming up. And we got Joe Viso, of course. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Dominic, I will start with you. How's it going?
Yeah, doing good. It's I won't be here next week because, yes, getting married and blessing of the marriage technically. But it's a lot. And just a PSA, I legitimately am serious about this. If you want to get married, just go to the courthouse. You don't necessarily need to do the whole church reception party limo thing. Chelsea and I are, because she really wants it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I could go for that. I'm definitely having fun with these playlists, which I think you guys are going to have a kick out of. But for the most part, it's like you can just go to Vegas and get married by Aston Butler. Just go actually, dude, I was just kidding, but like, what if Aston Butler just straight up just did that? Just like went as an impersonator and got legally licensed in Las Vegas? That'd be sick. But
I think come next week, after the Oscar nominations are revealed on Tuesday, when he gets a Best Actor nomination deservedly for Elvis, I think that'll be beneath him. But it would certainly be a compelling side hustle.
No, that would be that's his Oscars campaign right there. But yes, just essentially, I am very busy. Very, very busy.
Yeah, we're super looking forward, though, to your wedding, my friend. Gonna miss you next week, but in honor of you not missing next week, and we will review Missing, the standalone Searching sequel. With that being said, Joe, how are you?
I'm doing very good. I've had a very good week. I didn't have food poisoning, so that was like a start to my week that was better than last week. But overall, yeah, very positive week. Got to see, for anybody who is a horror movie fan, you've probably been having this on your radar, but I got to see Skinamarink in theaters, which was quite an experience. There was a couple to my left. If you don't know anything about this movie, it is a horror film that takes place within a house where the windows and doors are slowly disappearing, and you're following two kids the entire time. But the camera never looks at the two kids. It's always looking at other things in the room, like Legos on the floor, the TV that they're watching while the movie is playing. Like, as in, like, you're literally watching, like, the Looney Tunes while you're hearing kids in the background talking about the events in the movie, or they're looking at where a window used to be and you're hearing them talk. It was a very interesting film. The couple to my left did not find it so interesting, where they started making out in the first 20 minutes. And then the boyfriend went, "What the hell is this shit?" And then they got up and left. So that was
that's hilarious.
That is the mainstream reaction, and then my reaction, being the movie nerds that we are, I was kind of like, "Well, this is kind of cool." I would say that it's coming to VOD soon, and I think it might actually work better if you watch it at home alone with the lights off, rather than in a theater. Because even though like I had the distraction of a couple sitting next to me, I did kind of feel like the theater was ruining the immersion of that movie. But we're not reviewing that tonight. We're reviewing a different horror film. But I figure I'd give that a shout out to anybody that was ever interested in that movie.
That sounds like it is in the vein of we're all going to the World's Fair,
It
which
is.
means it would scare the living shit out of me
Yeah.
more than anything in the vein of like Megan, for instance.
The entire
So
time I
I'm
was
not going to
watching
watch
it-
that,
yeah.
but I respect it. It sounds like an SCP entry. I'm not even joking.
It literally reminded me of a creepypasta. The entire time I
Yeah.
was watching it, I was like, Dom could never watch this movie. It would freak him the hell out.
That's
There's
how the
like-
Backrooms got started. It's like, yeah, just a random post of just, hey, here's the twist.
There's like 4 jump scares total in that movie. And while like the people I saw it with said like those were kind of cheap, I thought like they helped like kind of like actually like, get your attention back on screen, because there's moments, even though the movie's only an hour and 40 minutes, it does you do really feel the length of it. But those jump scares help like make you feel even more uncomfortable afterwards, because then you're like, oh shit, like what the hell's gonna happen next now?
I know I lagged there a minute ago. I was trying to do too much, trying to post the Sleepless link
I was gonna
all
say, yeah,
across
you
the
were.
internet. Yeah, so I apologize. And I was at least I'm back in time to say, in reference to that making that love making couple in the theater, you could say that they left, and he gave her the old skinamarink afterwards. Oh, Maron. I can't wait to see it. And, I was initially mad that it didn't come anywhere near here. Not surprised, not mad, just disappointed that it didn't really come anywhere near here. But then Joe said it, and then several other people have said it, that it plays super well on the home screen when you can kind of set your own ambiance and be alone and actually be freaked out in your home. So when it comes to, I believe Shudder owns it.
Yeah.
When it comes to Shudder, I plan on watching it. I do think though, I've read a couple reviews. I'm not gonna lie, I've read like 2 reviews of it. It does seem like it's a long movie for its concept.
It is. The director of the movie has done a short film that's literally the exact same thing called Heck. I suggest checking out Heck. I think it's a better movie overall.
Heck. Just Heck.
It's 20 minutes long. It's made the same way. Again, it deals with 2 little kids, or a little kid, I think, in that one. But I think, again, with Skinamarink, it's so much better, if you watch it at home and you put yourselves in the place, like you yourself, the watcher, in the same place these kids are, which is dark in front of a screen, only illuminating like your house at night while you're like, what the hell is going on?
It didn't do half bad at the box office either. It made about 800 grand in about 692 theaters. That's not bad at all for something like this. I don't know how its expansion is going to play, but I am very interested in it. I'm kind of hawking over. I'm kind of mad that there's not really a VOD release for this thing yet, or a date announced yet. Because and I know we're not reviewing it tonight, but it is interesting to talk about this thing. And I didn't know this until like last week. This thing leaked online.
Oh, shit.
YouTube,
Like
and
the full movie?
people were the whole movie. The whole
Oh,
movie leaked. It was uploaded on YouTube. It was on YouTube for days, and all these streamers got a hold of it and everything like that, or all these streaming sites.
I bet it was so art house. People were scanning through it. It's like, okay, where's the movie?
But the director even said, dude, the director's like, it really helped the buzz for this thing, and he's like, and that's why, and that's
true
why
indie.
Yeah, no kidding, right? But would you believe this though? Shudder, after seeing the response, and you want to talk about true indie, Shudder was going to make it a Shudder exclusive, but then when they caught wind of the leak and they looked at what people were saying and discussing on Reddit, that was the decision to take it to theaters.
It worked. I mean, in all honesty, I was surprised how many people in my theater it was the only one playing the damn movie within like a 20-mile radius. But there was at least...
Oh, nowhere here is playing it. Not even like Cedar Rapids or Davenport. Like none of the bigger cities are playing it.
Like there was 19 people in my theater. That was more than I thought there would ever be in that theater.
That's pretty busy.
Yeah, and that's not including the couple. I didn't include those 2. I took them out of that equation.
Oh, man. We will talk, though, Megan. Looking forward to talking about this one. And again, I said in the opening, we're usually accustomed at this point to getting like or the first movie of the year being a horror movie. I'm trying to think back to like, past years and such. I know Insidious The Last Key was like the first movie of 2017, I want to say. Escape Room was 2018. Bye Bye Man was 2017. I'm trying to think if there was Scream technically was early, wasn't it? Scream was pretty early last year.
Scream, it's kind of like Nope. It came out in January, but it wasn't like the first week of January. But
it wasn't the first week.
Yeah, not Nope. Get Out. Sorry.
Yeah, Get Out was. I even want to say Get Out was February, wasn't it? Get Out was February of 18. February, I want to say. Yeah, Scream I think was like the last weekend last year, but yeah, Devil. I always think back to one of the most god awful movies. It was so funny. It was the year of 2012. The first movie I saw that year wound up being the worst movie I saw that year. It was The Devil Inside. God, did that thing suck. That I remember that was in 2012. Well, here we have Megan, which is actually pretty good. It's not a straight horror movie. It's got a little bit of an amalgam of sci-fi elements into it as well. It's got more sci-fi elements at some points than it does horror. And I guess first things first, I think the quality seal of approval here has to be Blumhouse, giving you a little bit more hope that this isn't just a run-of-the-mill Chucky clone, Orphan clone, even though those movies are going to be inevitably used as comparison for Megan, which is honestly doing very well at the box office at the moment. Megan is technically an acronym. It is short for Model 3 Generative Android, which is this lifelike doll that's programmed to be like a child's everything, from babysitter to companion to like lifesaver for these busy parents. It revolves around a little girl. Her name is Katie. And she experiences a horrific accident in the opening scene of the movie, which I'm not going to lie, made me friggin' jump the way that was handled. But she's played by Violet McGraw. Katie, though, she's an orphan, and her Aunt Gemma is in line for custody. Gemma's played by Allison Williams, who you'll recognize from Get Out. And essentially then Gemma works for this massive toy company. She's an engineer inventor for this toy company, and she's not really the maternal type. She's not really the motherly type. She's kind of, for lack of a better word, stuck raising this kid now that her sister and her brother-in-law are dead. So what winds up happening then is she uses this opportunity to capitalize on this idea by making Megan, which is, again, programmed to be like this guardian figure to Katie. And the way that this doll is programmed, it like protects Katie. Like it watches out for her and sometimes goes to a very startling degree to take care of her, whether it be a neighbor's dog or a bully or a real asshole of a bully. Megan handles the dirty work, often in like a brutal manner, to say the least. My favorite line in this whole movie, but she's safe, right? That's my favorite line in the whole damn thing. The first things first, I just want to say that the work on Megan is pretty exceptional. Just from like an animatronic sort of standpoint, I thought that like I always try to look, a lot of these doll movies, they've gotten a lot better, like the Child's Play movie, but I would even say that like the remake of Child's Play wasn't as good as the way Megan is handled in this. Megan, honestly, like there's a few shots where she's a little bit in the distance where she almost looks like an actual toddler. And the way she moves even too, like an actual toddler. And even when stuff starts getting really off the rails towards the end, and she does that famous dance that's in the trailer that has become a meme in itself, I remember just thinking, I'm like, damn, this thing is really fluid. Like they did a hell of a job. There's an actual actor that did the movements for Megan. She's played by Amy Donald, but she's voiced by Jenna Davis. So they actually had a stand-in actress acting out the motions of Megan. Wow. That's just general thoughts right there. Just kind of a comprehensive overview. Joe, what were you going to say?
I'm going to jump off that point, and then I'll give my general thoughts. Dude, the entire time I was watching this movie, I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, when it's not clearly like a person wearing like, the Megan mask and everything, which still, it looks great. Like, even when it's like, okay, it's clearly a person on screen right now, but that's still like they're hiding it so well. When it's actually an animatronic for the close-up shots or upper body shots, dude, all I thought to myself is Blumhouse is gonna actually kick it. I mean, is actually gonna kill it with this Five Nights at Freddy's movie. That's all I thought. I was like, man, between the Jim Henson Puppet Company being a part of that movie and now seeing just like the production value they put into Megan alone, I was like, dude, look, I'm not a Five Nights at Freddy's like fan or anything. I played that first game, thought it was great, kept up with the videos through YouTubers and everything, but ever since they got past like 3 or 4, I was like, whatever. That movie though, I'm really excited for even more now. Dom, I thought you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
No, just that I didn't know that they were doing a Five Nights movie. That's actually pretty awesome because yeah, seeing this movie, I perked me up. I'm saying like, yeah, that would actually work out. I have much more faith in that movie than I guess I did with Megan because I was not looking forward to this particularly. Not because I was scared of it. I'm like, this doesn't seem like my kind of vibe in the sense that I got what I was anticipating. Maybe a self-fulfilling prophecy here, but I guess we're moving on to me. But yeah, I went in. What? Say again?
I said, oh no, I could have kept going. I just thought you were gonna say something about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but go on.
Not really, honestly. Honestly, you finish up because I don't think you guys are gonna like what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh man. Okay, I'll say this. The only criticism I have with the movie is it was kind of predictable of what was going to happen from beginning to end for me. I was like, okay, I know like how this is going to play out. I know how the kills are going to go. But what kept it fun and entertaining was the script kept me cracking up, and then like there's great interactions between Megan and either the person who's about to kill or Allison is it Janney?
Williams,
my bad. Allison Williams' character, Gemma. Like there's great banter between them. There's like some really good like dark humor jokes. One involving like a child murder investigation where the guy is like interviewing the character Gemma.
That was funny.
And he's just like describing to him like the crime scene and then laughs about it and apologizes for laughing. And just his line delivery alone, I was like, that was great. There's like the most cartoonishly evil CEO in this movie, and they even make note of it where like he's even using the story of Gemma's niece, like the whole experience she went through, the trauma and everything. They're using that as like a marketing point, a selling point, and that, oh, don't worry, even though like your parents didn't die in a car accident, Megan will also work for you. And it's just like, dude, I was the whole theater when I went to go see this was laughing their ass off when I went to go see it the Thursday night that it premiered. And then the other thing that, like, for me that worked about this movie so well is literally just the character herself, Megan. This character is such a smart ass and is a total bitch, and I love her for it. She owns every scene she pops up in, and every single time I saw her on screen and she was, like, just sassing off to somebody, I was like, this is, like, the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I haven't had this much fun with these like killer doll movies or horror movie doll movies in such a long time, because like Annabelle to me, other than the second one which I thought was alright, I haven't liked most of the Annabelle movies. I didn't like The Boy, and I did not like I actually really did not like the Child's Play remake. I was like, for the longest time, I guess Chucky's like the only good one right now, but Megan it's not a breath of fresh air, but it is so good to see like them actually pull this off and actually do a good enough job. Yeah, that's basically my general impression. Dom, you want to go next?
Yeah, so when I first saw this movie, like just the basic plot of it, the trailer, I should say, for the most part, I was predicting, is this just gonna be like a Black Mirror episode, stretched out into a full movie and there are a lot of murder?
In some ways it is.
In some ways it is, and that can be great or not so much. And I think I fell into the latter camp. Like you said, Joe, it was quite predictable in terms of its themes, its conflict, its drama, its social issues that it's trying to address. Or you just, at some points vaguely, and at some points very, very, very on the nose. And then eventually, yes, the mechanics of the murders themselves, to the point where for me, it wasn't really building a lot of tension. Megan, the character herself, is very much a smart ass. And I guess it's because I'm biased because I'm watching Wednesday right now. and I think I just enjoy that performance more. But I'm not necessarily knocking it. The Megan is impressive, and just on a technical level, and it looks great. This whole movie is very bright, very shiny, very much like kind of a society in decay, and it's trying to replace it with technology, a la Black Mirror. But for me, it just didn't quite connect. I also saw it not in a full theater, but in a, we'll say, under half full theater. So there were people there. There were groups of people there, young people too, and I was waiting for some of them to light up, but I guess no one was really feeling it. There was a mix of older and younger there, and I think we were all. I didn't obviously talk to them, but I think we were all kind of feeling the same thing. Where it's like we're just kind of lukewarm on this. So when it came to its conclusion, it just kind of felt like a too long, on the nose Black Mirror episode, because a lot of the themes in particular, it's like I feel like I've seen this not even with Black Mirror necessarily, but also like more subtly done than with like themes like, I don't know, the Terminator or iRobot, I guess. I'm blanking out right now. That's an all right movie. But I think what kind of hit it for me in that sense, kind of not killed it, but kind of was like, oh yeah, this isn't, I don't think this is going to be for me, is the scene where main character Allison Williams' character Gemma is, oh, look at it, look cute. Main character is talking to the, I'm gonna say, CPS worker, and she's like, hey, just so you know, this is the main problem of the movie, which is that the emotional problem is that this character is too dependent on this character, and that's a problem. And it's like, you really had to spell that out for me. And then seeing that play out, that pattern play out, it's like, yep, this is a problem. Yep, they're replacing people, they're doing all this. It's like, this movie will probably be great for someone who has not been exposed to that specific topic before, which is AI, and it's actually quite growing. You're hearing a lot of talk about Chat GPT now, and I can only imagine what it's like to be someone in school with Chat GPT, and how that's going to be a shit show, particularly as teachers. But regardless, it's like, okay, those themes, I feel like I've delved into this before, and it doesn't really go beyond that, into that much depth. I understand that it's supposed to be more of a fun murder movie by the end of it, but it was more kind of middling for me, kind of lukewarm.
I think what kept this movie buoyant, in the face of maybe some predictability in the plot, for me at least, I think that there's a few more thoughtful things going on with Cooper's script than I think a lot of people are given credit to. I was blanking for a second on her first name over here, Keela Cooper. They're also behind Malignant. They're also behind the James Wan movie Malignant, which this movie's very much cut from the same cloth as that movie. I don't know if either of you guys saw that one. It's very much cut from the same cloth. Malignant gets very outrageous, almost in like an Evil Dead way. That was one of the HBO Max releases during the pandemic. But moreover, though, I think there's some more thoughtful screenwriting ideas going on here. I think that Gemma and Katie, I think the focus of this movie is retained on them to the point where they actually feel adequately developed. Because there's the idea too, Gemma's too busy to raise a child. She has an out. She could easily pawn Katie off on her brother-in-law's parents in Jacksonville. But for whatever reason, she stubbornly decides to raise Katie, even though she's really not, I don't want to say not fit, but she's too busy. She's too busy, and she's at the point in her life where she's more career-minded than family-minded at this point. But I found it fascinating, though, how she invents and then inserts Megan into her life, and she has little regard for how a connection between the two is going to be so strong that it will render like Katie unable to function without Megan by her side. I thought that was an interesting angle that does keep this thing afloat, too. And I also thought the performances between Williams, McGraw, were very good as well. And I really liked Ronnie Chang as the boss of the toy company too. I thought he was funny.
He was great.
I thought he owned his scenes. So I think that more of my complaint with this movie is that Megan goes from AI sort of like, garnering information on Katie to the point where she becomes then like a movie monster almost out of nowhere, like the whole toy launch and everything. All of a sudden now she can start a car. She can drive the car. You know what I mean? She can engage in brutal combat and stuff. I thought that I thought her segue from being like this child's companion to this killer, this like cold-blooded, unfeeling, all-skilled doll, I thought that kind of got a little erratic at times. But I think that the writing here, especially between Gemma and Katie, is stronger than you would suggest in a movie like this.
Yeah, dude. McGraw as Katie, like, this also like kind of wrote on her as well. Like, she is as much of an important character as Gemma is, and I thought she actually did really good. The scenes with her and Megan, the scenes between her and Gemma of like just kind of like the awkwardness that like there's this barrier between the two because obviously Gemma like I'm really glad the movie actually does not hide the fact that Gemma is like a terrible person like and like what she's doing, like how like the film is just definitely like, oh yeah, what she's doing is pretty shitty and everything, and like at the end of the film she's realizing like, oh yeah, like I really messed up here. Yeah, as you were saying, the scenes between those two are really good. And yeah, for me, that whole thing where Megan becomes like a killer robot, like a true killer robot by the end, I see what you're saying. It just didn't bother me as much because I felt like we spent a lot of time before actually that first kill where it's like building up towards that moment, and then once it finally happens, it's kind of like Megan herself just doesn't stop. Like if she sees anything as a threat, it's like, all right, that's it, I gotta kill this thing. To where like, yeah, like by the end of the movie where it's okay, all these people are standing in my way to getting the Katie. I literally need to kill anybody that will like stop me from doing anything. There is like one kill, she kills somebody that's part of the company that's like I felt like they were introducing a subplot with them and then nothing really happened with it. But there's somebody that's like stealing company secrets and you're like, ooh, what's gonna happen here? Is he gonna like upload Megan into other devices and stuff? And it's like it goes nowhere, and then Megan like tells him like something, and it's like, oh, that's what we're gonna do with that whole plot. Oh, all right, okay. There was just that was like my only thing was like during that whole scene they kind of just took a subplot that I thought they could have done something fun with and really adding to the campiness and fun that this movie was having. They could have really done something with it, but they just kind of just rolled over it and just went for a basic off-screen kill. I will say, even though this is PG-13, there is going to be coming soon an unrated, gorier cut of the movie. I
didn't know that.
To I think Peacock, and I'm actually really excited to watch that version of the movie as well. And apparently there'll be like a few more extra scenes of like like other kills and stuff or whatnot. So apparently that is something that's on the table right now at Blumhouse and Peacock. And if that actually does happen, I'm down to watch that. But yeah.
I'm excited for that just on the surface too. If there's going to be a gorier cut to it, because and this is a sidebar thing, but I think it's worth mentioning. Like being that physical media isn't what it is anymore, and hasn't been for several years. Like Gone
with the Wind.
Gone are the days. What did you say? I didn't even hear you.
He said Gone with the Wind.
Because you paused at Gone, and I thought you were about to say With the Wind. So
I coughed. Oh, God. What I was saying was, like, gone are the days of, like, remember, like, unrated cuts?
Yeah.
Remember, like, unrated, like, like the extreme version that we can't show you. The extreme version that we're going to get arrested and sued if we show you. Like, I always remember Bad Santa had Badder Santa. There's a litany of movies that had, like, and oftentimes R-rated cuts were, like, they led you to believe they were like X-rated and all this stuff, but it was generally just like a slightly more extended version of the theatrical cut. And famously the Judd Apatow movies, the Judd Apatow movies, like 40-Year-Old Virgin, they would always extend the shit out of them. Like the actual extended cuts of like 40-Year-Old Virgin and Walk Hard are like 25 minutes longer than the theatrical version. And I actually do not think the original theatrical version of 40-Year-Old Virgin is available on home media. I think it's only the extended cut. The version that was shown in theaters, they released the extended cut, and they didn't, I don't, it might have corrected itself now with Blu-ray and streaming, but for a while though, you could not get the original cut of 40-Year-Old Virgin. All that being said, I'm excited to see a gorier version of this movie because I do think the PG-13 angle of this weakens it a bit, and maybe it's just my proclivity for like movies like Child's Play, movies like Orphan and the recent prequel that are able to go a little bit further. You know what I mean? There was something about Isabel Furman in the original Orphan telling a prepubescent kid that she was going to rip his hairless prick off that you just can't do in a PG-13 movie. You know what I mean?
And don't get me wrong, like the kills are fun here, but it's just like it's definitely like if this was rated R, it could have like had a more moment or like could have gotten a little bit more campy with it. There's one kill I thought they weren't gonna go through with it. I was like, man, they ain't killing kids in this movie, and I was wrong. Like, I gotta be gasped. I was
balls to that. Yes.
I was like, okay, the car's gonna, make a stop, and then like, it's gonna be like, no, they went the whole way, and I actually was like, props to you, Megan. You fulfilled what I thought PG-13.
Usually, you only do something that's something Stephen King would do. Stephen King's got the famous disregard for animals and kids.
If that kid lived, then I would have totally given up on the movie, but that kept me going. But I will say that
a dead kid kept Dom going.
As with movies in this vein, the implication of the other things going on around it is scarier than the actual like kills and moment to moment, like the dog jumping the window, for instance. It's scarier than those. Because it's particularly in this very Black Mirror-esque. I keep comparing it, but I just can't shake the comparison. Kind of movie, kind of piece of story here, because and they really, really spell it out. But yeah, what happens if this were released on a wide commercial scale? But I guess it was just built too damn good for it to even escape out of there, and stuff like that. I don't know if it should have explored that more, or if it should have gone all the way. Maybe you turned it into a sequel, because they're definitely going to sequel this, but which I think we'll talk about next. But I think that for the most part, for me, it was okay, because it in terms of moment to moment, it had been treading ground that I had already been definitely inhabiting before, and I appreciate that people are certainly getting more into the thought of AI now. It's all over the news. But I think it's something that I do wonder if it's going to survive past the cultural references. Dude, that TikTok dance was like 5 seconds long. I thought they were going to go hard on it. I thought there was going to be it was a sequence. I thought it was going to be a longer sequence where this thing is dancing, horrifyingly dancing throughout. Like, it's just stalking this character. It's stalking Ronnie Chen for like 5 minutes. That would have been sick. I would have loved that. Would have made the movie for me, where it's just hopping out of walls and stuff, dancing. It's like, okay, that'd be cool. But no, it's just kind of
They missed a bold opportunity, because like the trailer, and I've read that they actually Jason Blum tried to fight Universal about including that clip in the trailer. He tried to fight. He said he didn't want it in the trailer, but Universal insisted, and he even said, he's like, it's actually good that they did. He's like, I think that gave us a little bit more of a boost. But anyway, I hate to keep comparing this to Chucky, but I will say, I don't think you guys watched the TV series. But the first, it was I want to say, is the first season. It was like a later episode. The song, we Got the Beat, the 80s song, We Got the Beat. That played like an integral role in one of the episodes, because it was at a dance party that Chucky crashed and lit the whole house on fire. And like every flashback then was like cast through this like foggy, hazy lens, and We Got the Beat would be droning in the background. And the reason I even bring it up, though, is because like now every time I hear that song, I associate it with that scene or with that whole sequence, that whole episode. they needed this dance sequence to go for at least a minute to the least expecting song, to something completely random.
Yeah,
and
because the song like
worked.
fit really well, and it's like yeah.
Like just I don't know what they would have done. I mean, they had the toy party, so they could have passed it off as music being played for that. They had the toy launch party. I agree with you there, Dom. They needed to make that sequence a little bit longer to resonate a little bit more, because I think that would have given it this movie like that quirky extended sequence that really would have played well.
It's definitely going for creepy rather than truly terrifying.
Yeah, it's never super
I get
scary.
That,
it's never super eerie.
But even then, it's like going through the motions of creepy. It's like, oh, it's a doll, and it's got valley, not hidden valley, not quite there, halfway there, and it's unsettling. Something valley face, uncanny valley face.
Valley.
Dude, I was like, it's on the tip of my tongue as well. I was trying to think of it.
But even then, it's. Yeah, let's just keep it at that, because I think that accentuates the most of it. I feel like there is more to this movie. It could have gone deeper into certain commentary. It could have gone deeper into the creepiness, into the, it could have gone creepy into, or it could have gone, deeper into this and that. Instead, I feel like it toes the line, and it, I don't know. From what I'm reading, particularly with the sequels, with, proposed sequels, it's like, oh, we're very excited for this. This is going very well on Rotten Tomatoes, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like this is going to be it's going to be a milquetoast kind of flagship series for Blumhouse. So it's like, we're really banking on Megan, because this is going to be the TikTok sensation. This is going to be our big breadwinner, because it's doing very well at the box office, and
it is one of those movies where, like, and we'll talk about it. I'm just actually save it for the next part of the show.
If it is, let me say this: if it is that, and then they go on to make other movies around that, not like in the universe, but like, it finances other movies, better movies, then you know what, go for it. Let them have Megan. I'm not salty.
Yeah, honestly, you have to look at it that way too, because this thing's gonna make enough bank to give them some clout, and then we'll make it something like Deliciously Weird or something, like from the director of It Comes at Night or something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you have to put up with the lucrative in order to get the niche, I guess you would say. But even though I am far more positive on Megan than I think you are, Dom, we'll return in about 60 to 90 seconds here, wrap up our talk on Megan, and then talk about the potential sequel ideas that are already festering for this early January surprise. We'll be back in a couple of minutes on Sleepless with Steve. Back and better than ever, Sleepless with Steve, live on YouTube. We are talking about Megan, and Joe, I do believe you left us with a cliffhanger about a point you wanted to make on the movie.
I was gonna save it for our next discussion, but I'll just say it anyway because Dom.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it works still because like Dom closed out with it. It does make me worried that like with any sequel, like to me the idea of a Megan sequel, I want it so badly, but I feel like it's gonna suffer from sequelitis to where it's like, oh, hey, this is what marketed our movie for the first movie. If we double down on what was marketing about it in the sequel, then it's going to be even better. And it's just like, no. Like, I don't want them being like, okay, we have to do another dance sequence because that was a big hit on TikTok and the internet and it became a meme for a while. So now we need another dance sequence and everything. It just makes me worried that it will just definitely be that. I'm hoping because, it's Blumhouse and, lately they've been really, really good at, like, making horror films and everything, that if they were to do a sequel, they're actually doing it. They're doing it for the right reasons. And hopefully with people like James Wan and the creative team they have behind this, they actually have something lined up in the books. That if they were to do a sequel, it wouldn't just be like, okay, let's just do sequelitis with Megan.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I'll table more thoughts to that, in a few minutes when we do tackle it. But I guess to start closing thoughts, though, I thought, it only took about 5 days for 2023 to have its first pretty good movie of the year, I thought. I have to give credit to Jason Blum and Blumhouse Productions because I think they have a lot of different properties. A lot of their stuff is one-off. I mean, if you think about it, Insidious is one of the few franchises they have that they continue to double down on, triple down on, and I think we're actually getting Insidious 5, 6 or something this year too.
Hey, props to them for actually being like, Halloween is done. Like, we're not coming back to this. We're actually ending that.
Yeah, that was like a set trilogy. You know what I mean? So I give Blumhouse a lot of credit. I think Blumhouse for years now has earned they've earned the reputation for upholding a quality standard with their movies too. And they're smart when they go mainstream, like Megan and the Halloween trilogy, but they still love to go, like I always said, they don't really seem to do it a ton anymore, but their subsidiary, the BH Tilt, that gave us movies like Upgrade and the Belko Experiment and Birth of a Dragon.
Oh my god, dude, I forgot about Tilt. Yeah,
BH Tilt. There hasn't been a BH Tilt movie in years. I don't know what happened with it, but
I think Upgrade was the last movie they've done, or at least the one I can remember.
Might have been, yeah, because Belko Experiment was the year before. Either way, though, Blumhouse always gets my attention, and I think Jason Blum is one of the best Twitter follows, too. If you don't follow Jason Blum on Twitter, that guy's hilarious. And, like, he is a fans, like, studio executive, too. You can tell in the movies that they, like, make and they finance and just his demeanor. I think he's a fun dude, and I think that I think everybody here deserves a lot of credit, particularly Allison Williams, Violet McGraw. You have Gerald Johnstone as well, making, I believe, his directorial debut with this movie too.
It is, yeah.
Gerard Johnson, excuse me. Making his directorial debut with Megan. So I think that you have a lot of you have a lot of forces in this movie that are doing, I think, a bit more than just adhering to formula. I think there's a lot of development afforded to these characters, at least more than you generally expect. I like the visual effects too. I like the progression of the plot. And I think at the end of the day, this movie's more beholden to its concept than it is its formula. So it's a solid 3 out of 4 stars for me. I think it also sets the tone pretty well for a good horror, for hopefully what continues to be. It's going to be hard to top last year for horror and thriller movies, but also just glancing at the reviews of Missing, very positive out the gate for that one too. So I hope this sets the stage for another good year in horror because I thought it was a good start. So it's 3 out of 4 for me. We'll go Joe then Dom to send us home on Megan.
Let's see. I mean, I'm right there with you with everything you just said. I was trying to think of a different way to spin it and everything. This was a lot of fun. It's a great start to the year for 2023 with movies. I saw this with 2 of my friends, and I saw other people in the theater. I went to go see it with groups of people, and everybody just seemed to have a good time. The few people I've talked to, one group that I used to go to school with in Naperville, they went to go see it, and they told me how much they had a blast watching this movie and how much everybody was just eating it up in their theater. Yeah, man, it's a surprise to say the least because I was as we were getting closer to this movie, there was a tweet that said like because like they had that big premiere where all the people all these people dressed up as Megans and even Jason Blum dressed up as Megan, and then like there was like a tweet saying they're doing all of this for just a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes and a box office bomb.
28% on Rotten
Yeah.
Tomatoes. That was funny. That was funny.
I was like, damn, I just hope that isn't true because it's just like I would love for this to actually be campy and fun. And then it came out and it actually was, and it has like a 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's been doing pretty well at the box office. So, all that aside, I do think like I had a much better movie in my head when I saw the trailers and what they could have done with it. But the product overall that I got, I still had a fun time with, and would recommend it to people who enjoy these kind of movies, especially if you're into like horror. This is like a great way to start your horror year after we just got done with like literally like a golden year of horror in 2022. Having Megan kind of be like this first course of this year, soon to be with Evil Dead as well. Let's see where that goes. For me, it's 3 out of 4 stars as well.
Dom, send us home on Megan before we talk the inevitable sequel.
I didn't hate it, and it's not a bad movie. I can say that for sure objectively, but I didn't particularly like it either. If only because, with all the attention it's getting from a studio like Blumhouse, which I do respect very much, it couldn't maybe go as deep as I thought it could, or in one aspect or another. I'm not asking it to do everything. I'm just asking it to do one thing very, very well. It kind of impressed me in that sense, but ultimately it kind of does everything middling. I hate to use the word mid, but middling, I'll say that. And ultimately, I will say though that it is a very effective, if on the nose, critique of runaway technology, capitalism, et cetera, et cetera. But ultimately, those themes are at this point overdone. Although nonetheless pertinent, but still at the end of the day, for me, it's going to be a 2 out of 4 stars, which will feel particularly harsh, but that I'll give it to Blumhouse for you can do better than that. You can impress me. You've done it before.
That's our discussion of Megan right there. We are going to seg. There's not a ton to say about this, but again, Megan has kind of, I think, exceeded expectations for how well it was going to do at the box office. It's also pretty, it's not super shocking, I think, that it's doing pretty well, just given the fact that, like, I mean, Avatar's, if you're not Avatar or Megan, you're not making a whole lot of money right now. That's just kind of the way it is. We had 3 new releases if you count Skinamarink this weekend. Skinamarink really doesn't count because it was just barely a wide release. But like both Plane and House Party didn't do very well either this week. And I don't know if Missing is going to do all that well either. I feel like Missing hasn't been promoted extremely well. So Megan's had a good runway, though, to get off the ground, and has now made almost $100 million worldwide. And James Wan, who is involved with this, I think he's a story credit and a producer on this movie. He said, according to Cinema Blend, which is talking about sequels, James Wan and Jason Blum, broke their cardinal rule about sequels when making Megan. They said, and this is what Wan said: after I first saw the movie, we had a good sense that a sequel might really work. So we broke our cardinal rule and we started talking about a sequel before the movie was released. I felt so bullish that we started entertaining a sequel earlier than we usually do. And I think it took a $30 million weekend for everybody to realize, yeah, this is going to get a sequel here pretty soon. How good is it going to be? That is going to be dependent on a variety of factors. Here is what we know, though, about a Megan sequel. It's already got a release date. It's already got a release date for January 17th of 2025. So
literally a year from right now.
2 years, technically.
2 years, my bad. I can math.
Technically. I'm not going to lie. I saw that and I'm like, Jesus Christ, 2025, that's, oh shit, that's only 2 years away, isn't it? So, yeah, January 17th, 2025 is the date now that that Megan, what is tentatively being called Megan 2.0. And I think they're probably going to stick with that title. There's not much else they really can call it.
Another great tweet I saw of the week, guys. I shared it with the guys. Was when they get to the third Megan movie, and the writer's like, "Ah, shit!" when it comes time to make a title.
Yeah, well, I thought go the alien route and do Megan's. I wanted Megan's.
I wanted Megan's too.
That's what I was kind of rooting for. But 2.0 it suggests like the newer model of something. That's where I think they're going here.
The iOS update of Megan's.
Exactly. Yes. But anyway, New York Times reported back in November that they were pleased with how the movie turned out before it even come out, and that they're planning on a sequel. And then Gerard Johnstone confirmed that talks of a sequel started as early as right before the movie was released. So now we have a date. We have a tentative title of Megan 2.0, and Cooper is going to be writing it again. Akela Cooper is going to be writing it. And Allison Williams and Violet McGraw are going to return as their respective characters, Gemma and Katie. So right off the bat right there, I will say I like where this is going. One of the things that concerns me about this missing sequel that's coming out next weekend is that not only was Searching such a great movie, it was anchored by two things. Anish Chaganty as the director and John Cho as the central performer. This sequel, Missing, has Chaganty as only a story credit, and John Cho is not in the movie. And there doesn't really seem to be another actor of, I could be wrong, maybe we'll get introduced to a new face, but it doesn't seem on the surface that there's an actor of a certain presence and a certain stature in this sequel. The fact that you got the four most important people returning to this thing gives me hope that they're going to do something with this. And James Wan, too, behind it, and James Wan being one of the guys talking the sequel before it was even out, that gives me some grounds for optimism. What do you say, Joe?
I'm right there with you. Even though like I got to listen to one review of Missing so far, and I was like, all right, maybe they actually did something here. I'll find out for myself this Thursday, which is tomorrow actually. It does make me worry because like I was like, well, what worked so good was like, yeah, John Cho, like, he's not like a household name, but he's been in the business for so long that I've known like the guy can act, and to give him just his own movie where he is just completely owning it the entire time. Not only that, Searching to me also came out at a good time where like we got a few of these movies that take place literally on a desktop, where it takes place on a desktop, the whole movie and everything, kind of like handheld found footage, but on a computer screen the entire time. We only got a few of them, like Unfriended, and like I think there was like one other one. But like Searching really played with the formula the best, in my opinion, out of like all those movies. And since then, other movies have tried imitating it that have gone to like direct to streaming services. The thing about the Megan sequel is that not only will we get this sequel within 2 years, it's with the original team that I feel like, okay, like with Megan being such a box office success, and we eventually get like more doll killer movies or whatever down the line, especially with Chucky, the TV show, being out now. I'm hoping now with at least that, it's like, hey, not only will we just like take the formula we did before, but we're actually going to expand on it and do stuff with it. Because that was the thing with the Searching movie, not the Searching movies, but everything that came after Searching, is that no one did anything really unique with that formula. They were just like, oh, that's a cool way to do the movie. And like that to me is how Missing has been looking like the entire time, every single time I see a trailer for it. Like I saw a trailer for both movies I saw this year, Megan and Skinamarink. And each time I saw those trailers, I was just like, man, it just looks like just a basic version or just a carbon copy of Searching. And like it could still be a good movie, but I feel like as a sequel, it's not really expanding on anything. I'm hoping though, yeah, when you have an original team and from the get-go, you guys are kind of like, hey, look, a sequel can actually probably happen with this. And you're actually giving yourselves like not just like, a year to like make a sequel. You're actually giving yourselves 2 years. I know horror movies, especially Blumhouse horror movies, they don't take long to film at all. Like you guys have plenty of time in the writing room actually deliver on something. More to what Dom was saying, because like I do agree with a lot of Dom's criticisms where it's like, man, if we can really expand the AI side of things to where it's like not only like that I feel that Megan was kind of like a discount Black Mirror episode, but what if you actually made it a Black Mirror episode? Like you actually got really down and dirty with the idea of it. You could still make it funny and campy and everything, but really play with that whole theme of AI and everything that like Black Mirror brings to the screen as well.
Really do what The Purge did, which is like, hey, first Purge movie.
Actually,
Here's an awesome What an awesome concept.
Yeah.
Let's
That's a
put
good
it in
idea.
a house. Let's just put it in a house. Just there, a little house. No. I want to see what the hell's going on outside here. So what if Megan, infects, what if it's Skynets? What if it's Skynets?
Yeah.
What the hell goes on there?
Dude,
and it's like, I don't know.
that's a great I didn't that's another Blumhouse property too. I didn't think about that. Like I look at the Purge sequels and those to me are far better than the original movie. Even the worst like of the sequels, which I think was like the prequel, the first Purge or whatever, even I thought, okay, as bad as that movie was and I didn't enjoy it, it was still leagues of better.
At least it had set pieces and like fun action, whereas the first one is bad in a forgettable way.
Yeah.
Sure.
But sorry, I cut you off.
No. That was I was trying to find something to really compare it to where it was like, damn, like what horror movie I think like really just kind of ran with it. I mean, Scream, but that's back in the 90s. Like they did it within a year and they did such a good job with its sequel. But it's like that's a great example of something more recent and made like what 5-6 sequels, and their batting average with them was actually really good.
You know what Steve said here with Alien and Aliens, I was actually going to bring that up, not necessarily with the title, but more so with like, okay, they can go either way with this, because in my critique, Megan was kind of middling there in what it wanted to do. Is it horror with action? Is it sci-fi horror with action, or is it sci-fi action with some horror elements thrown in there?
Sure.
I will agree with that. Like if you make a sequel, double
Pick
down
one.
on make one. Double down on your tone of what you want to actually do, because that was something I did notice with the movie, is that tone wise it was kind of bouncing all over the place.
And I did say, the themes of like runaway technology, capitalism, this and that. I said that it is overdone, but dude, you can overdo any story. But if it's a damn good one, if you execute it, I'm always the opinion that everything's a trope until you do it really damn
good.
well.
Yeah.
Then it's just good. But it's like the first Aliens, the first two are pretty set in stone. It's like, okay, the first one is horror, sci-fi horror with action, and then the second one is sci-fi action with horror. But Megan can do either at this point, or has the opportunity to do either, and I hope it does. Again, I didn't hate the movie, and I am rooting for it, like I do with all movies. I always root for movies to do well, and I think if they don't squeeze too hard on this cow, they might actually. There's fertile ground to do something. What they do, who the hell knows? I just hope it's not predictable and as pretty cookie cutter as I was reading it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and I do agree with you, Joe. I didn't mention that initially in my monologue about it. I would like to see them absolutely double down on a more consistent tone with this one.
If you guys
or at
want
least
to have fun with it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Double down, dude. Do a whole have the whole scene be Ronnie Chen, or he's dead, but spoilers. But like, just have the whole scene.
Nice, good one.
have the whole scene be someone being chased through a TikTok, and then like they accidentally activate filters, and it's like 5 minutes of that. Like that would be cool. You could do some Doctor Strange shit there. I was like, that'd be cool. All right.
We shall see. And we shall review Megan 2.0 come, what is that, January 17th, so Friday, so 22nd, I think. January 22nd, 2025, we will revisit Megan.
If Sleepless is over by then some way and somehow, we have to come back for that one show, and that's it.
We'll have to do a Facebook video call. Dom will have to do a 24-hour live stream.
There you go.
The Megan review 24-hour live stream. We're just like leading up to the live stream.
That's our show tonight. We got some fun stuff, though, planned for the next couple of weeks. Unfortunately, Dom is missing next week for our Missing review, so we will be searching for some solace while we review Missing. At any rate, we're reviewing Missing next week. Following weekend, we're going to tackle the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker. I think it'd probably be more prevalent to talk about it next weekend while it's still in the zeitgeist, but I want Dom's opinion on this too, because I have a lot of thoughts about this documentary. I remember when the video went viral back in 2013 with Kai, the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker. I watched the documentary with my girlfriend. We had a great discussion, so I wanted to make sure, throw the bone to you guys too, because I think we'll have a good discussion too.
I've never seen the video. Should I watch it before watching this documentary, or go in cold and see what my reaction is?
I'd watch it before.
Okay.
I'd watch it before just to get a general sense. I would say watch the video, but don't read anything else.
Okay. All right.
Don't read anything else. Watch the viral video clip and don't read anything else.
Okay.
The news report, the KMPH video. And then following that, we got Dom's second favorite movie of 2023 behind Megan, 80 for Brady. We will be reviewing that one.
I've got some opinions on that already.
Oh yeah, he got his knife sharpened. You should see the group chat today, man. He's got his knife sharpened on that one. I did
knives out.
I did read something. I did read something today that I retweeted that said like the whole joke of the movie is that they're Tom Brady fans and they're like 80. They're old as fuck. That's part of the whole joke. Why did they still have to Photoshop the living shit out of them on the poster?
Yeah,
and that was a very fair point.
Look, Sally Fields will always be hot. So like, don't even bother. You don't even need to bother.
Only probably the second most embarrassing thing to happen to Tom Brady this year, other than getting mollywopped by Dallas on Monday night. But at any rate, that's our show. We got some cool reviews coming in the pipeline, and don't forget next month too, Ant-Man Quantumania, which is one of the few Marvel movies recently that I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, are we actually doing that?
I plan on it.
Oh, okay.
I'm interested just because, like, where the hell could they go with this? I'm up in the air. So yeah,
Jonathan Majors.
I enjoy the Ant-Man movies. I enjoy the Ant-Man movies.
Jonathan Majors is a big part of. Oh my god, we're all just talking over each other.
Sorry, go Joe.
No, you're fine. There's just lag going on. I don't know if it's my computer or you guys. And it was just I was about to talk. I'm like, oh shit, someone was actually talking there. Yeah, Jonathan Majors. Looking forward to him. That's it.
He was very good in Devotion when I was one of the 10 people to see that movie in November. I like Jonathan Majors a ton, and he was in Defy Bloods too. Yeah. So we shall review that.
Last Black Man in San Francisco, another good one.
Indeed. Before we talk over each other anymore, we will end this show. We will be back next week to talk about, Joe and I will, to talk about missing. Dom will unfortunately be missing, but we will be here live and in living color at 6:30 next Wednesday for Dominic Guanzon, Joe Viso, and yours truly. This has been Sleepless with Steve.